And black people are hurt. All of America is hurt by that idea. That we would fall prey to this idea and illusion. And it's not just him, it is the ideas that created him. The ideas that are like the Chipotle idea. I don't know if you've seen that one on the bag, and they say, oh, Chipotle is presenting these messages. They must be getting them from George Soros or somebody, or Bill Gates. These messages, these idyllic ideas. On the bag when you go to Chipotle, and I won't go there anymore because I saw this on the bag and I'm done with it. And it says, oh, we dream of an America where nobody has to work and all the food is good. Well, my mama said, man don't work, man don't eat.
Yes, that's what mine said too.
That's what your mama said too. I know she said.
I've been wondering if that's part of the curse.
That's right. And somebody else said, you eat the potatoes you dig. And somebody else said, a rolling stone gathers no moss. You want me to sit around and wither away and just act kumbaya, everything's good? This sounds like conspiracy to me. Okay? In the black church we say, well, you know? So I'm not going to talk about it some more. I'll go down a long road with that. But that's the kind of thing that people are trying to plant in America, you know? I mean, I spent 2 hours with Al Jazeera TV. And Al Jazeera, they came in there and they were like, oh, I've got these people. I want to tell you the kind of conspiracy they have against America. We've got you and we want to have this interview with you. And you're a black American male? Yes, I am. Okay, well, America's horrible. I mean, how do you feel about the racism in America? What racism are you talking about? Which one? There's been a lot of racism in America. There's been stuff that's been happening a long time. I mean, America has a long history. Tell me where you're going with this. Well, I said, give me some stuff. I said, I don't talk about racism just in general because it doesn't make any sense, because Martin Luther King says in all things first get understanding when it comes to understanding what's going on. So give me something specific, sir, or we're not going to have this interview. So he pulls out a briefcase and he lays out all this stuff about, you see this? This is a Brown, and this is a Jones, and this is a Turner. And this is called the Interstate Plan to Suppress Voters. And all these people, Brown, Turner, and Jones, they're all black people. And I went, really? And I look at it, and he goes, well, yeah, and see Jackson, because what's your name? And I go, my last name is Smith. And he goes, well, I said, yeah, it doesn't fit, does it? I mean, Captain John Smith was pretty busy, and he oppressed Pocahontas and all that kind of stuff, and that's why you got all these Smiths in America. So I'm playing with the guy, right? And so then he goes, but just seriously though, this is a massive voter suppression plan. And all these people who have these names like Jones and Jackson and Brown, all these people are being suppressed and they're taking off the voter rolls because, they're just being taken off because they're black. And I go, there's a guy named Andrew Jackson in America. There was a guy named Stonewall Jackson. I don't think that he could have been a Confederate officer if he was a black man. I mean, unless you're going to rewrite history for me from your Arab nation. I don't understand how you can say that. And he looked at me. He says, turn the camera off. Can we retake that? Yeah. You see? Guys, what you see on TV is a bunch of lies. Yeah. People hate the beauty that is America. I recognized early in my life that when I was running fast across the cow field, and I was getting across the cow field faster than all my cousins, that they had a conspiracy against me to slow down. I was setting the standard the wrong way. And then I got out of college and I went and I started working at a plant, Hoist Celanese plant up in West Virginia. And I was doing assembly line motivation, and I learned that there were people who wanted that assembly line to slow down. People don't like high standards. And America's exceptionalism is a high standard. Whether it's the European Union, whether it is somebody trying to make a different type of currency in the world, devaluing ours, there's great interest in what America's strength is. And part of America's strength has been the moral and righteous authority that we've had in our social justice movement. And you see it with the creation of these humanistic type of movements like the new National Civil Rights and Humanism building that they got downtown in Atlanta. And I go in there and I see stuff and I take a young person from a college or university with me, and we're looking at it, and we'll see something like the NCR, the National Council of Republican Women, and we'll see that beside Dorothy Height, a Black American civil rights leader, and we'll see that beside Dorothy Height's name. And then yet, in the narrative on the paragraph, they'll leave out the Republican part. And I asked the curator, and I said, is this a typo? And they go, what do you mean? Is this a typo? I mean, why does this say NCRW, but this one just says National Council of Women? Oh, well, oh yeah, it must be a typo. And I go, no, it wasn't. It's right here in the encyclopedia. That's Republican woman, but you decided to leave it out so people couldn't see the truth. That's what's happening, folks. And here's why we decided with our plan. I want to get into some strategy now, and then I'm going to stop, and I want you to know what we're up against, see? And when we have lots to celebrate, okay? I mean, America is a ship of freedom, but somebody's fired a big, huge missile, a cultural war missile, a propaganda and bullcrap across our bow. Somebody has said, okay, ship of freedom, I know that you're trying to get across the river, you're trying to get across oceans, you're trying to take people to freedom, but I'm going to tell those people to overload your boat, create debt in your country, poke holes in your boat so nobody can have freedom, so that you all drown together. Somebody is saying that we want to make sure that your ship is as hollow as Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. They want our hollow points to be hollow indeed. That's what they want. That's what we're up against. We've won this little small battle, but we're going to be in a huge, huge battle, folks. And so the vigilance that you demonstrated is going to need to continue. Because I want to talk about some of the ways we won, but we haven't won. Because we're not in control of our schools. There is no academic integrity at universities. I worked at universities for 13 years of my life. You know, those schools are so biased about what they present. I mean, there's a voter suppression seminar going on at Clark Atlanta University next week. There is not one conservative viewpoint there. They won't have Cornel West there, a great academician. They won't have Skip Gates, who is, President Obama's friend, who he's going to go have a beer with in Boston. But they won't even have him there. They won't have any historian who's going to present truth. They said, oh, we'd love you to come to sit in the audience. They're not going to let me speak. They want people to remain ignorant. So obviously you all know that part of our strategy has been to bring academic integrity back to the schools by encouraging robust debate and critique. I asked every member of the Georgia Black Caucus. I should call them the Democrat Caucus because I asked to join and they wouldn't let me. What about freedom and liberty, people? What about justice? Of course, the NAACP is not going to acknowledge Mia Love's incredible historic moment in Utah, or Tim Scott's historic moment in South Carolina. They're not going to acknowledge that. So we started the Morehouse College Republicans and the Spelman University Republicans, and we started the South Carolina Black Conservatives, and we started the Payne College things. We did those things as long as 3 years ago. We started to nationalize the election well before we started with Purdue's discussion of voting for Michelle Nunn was voting for Obama. But before that kind of rhetoric and message went out there, we were already discussing with kids at Payne College and those different universities that there is a movement to ignore your needs. Even on immigration, we started pushing back and muddying the waters about what do Latinos think about immigration and how does that affect raising the minimum wage. And we started asking the young economists at these universities. So Michael Roundtree, you're the president of the Morehouse College Republican, and you're studying economics, aren't you, sir? Yes. So how do you create a tight job market, and what's the difference, and how does it impact wages? And Michael Roundtree would begin to talk about it, and then one of the younger people would then say, well, if you got a tight job market, then that means wages go up, right? Yeah. Simple economics. Well then, if we let in 3 million undocumented people and they all of a sudden can compete with us for jobs, then we can forget about it, right? Well, economic theory would say so. And actually the annuals of times have proven so as well. It's not just what theory is, that's true.